listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. We see it all around us. As people retire, they break down, they get sick, become crotchety, and basically unhappy. It's not related to finances or having the lack of interest or hobbies. So what is the phenomena that where retirement is so destructive to human beings? By the way, I think it's a really good question.
Yeah.
Even if you're just starting out as a Gen Z or a Gen X, this show is essential to your future happiness. We'll do a deep dive and discuss these atrocities today. Stay tuned. We are married intuitives with over 20 years experience who created the Ecosystem Approach for you. This is much different because we see human beings as ecosystems that need to be restored instead of programmed. We show you how to take an energy approach for internal discovery that is rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, I thought everyone looked forward to retirement. What do you mean by retirement atrocities?
Well, everybody does.
Okay.
But we look around us. So we're old. We just turned 70, and we live in this place where it's not a retirement community, but it's a lot of the people that live here full time. We're just out of Yosemite, outside of Yosemite.
Correct.
And people that live here full time most of them are retired.
Right.
And we see this so often.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting bored.
Yeah.
They're becoming dull.
Yes.
They're getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
They're
yeah.
And these are people that they have. Some of them have things to do. Some of them, they get bored and they don't know what to do.
Correct.
There's plenty of people to connect with.
Yes.
But there's a dullness.
Well, and I also see a bitterness about aging.
A bitterness and a lot of people, because we're programmed, we try and put on a good face. Oh,
correct.
I'm not bitter.
Yeah.
I'm not bored. I'm not unhappy.
Yes.
But then you look at them and you look at the way they act.
Right.
They're lying to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is very predictable based on if you've been programmed all your life.
Well, wait a minute. Let's back up and say all of us have been programmed.
All of us have been programmed. So if you're a Gen Xer or Gen Zer,
yeah,
we want to say to you right now, I know this is out there already. And in fact, someone said this to me. We did a show about Gen Z.
Right.
And are they really lazy?
Yeah.
And, they have an understanding of work-life balance probably better than most. They look at their parents and say, I don't want that.
Well, and I can understand why they would say that.
Yeah. So they say, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But then they're trying to do it differently, but they don't really know because they're trying to do it with the same frame, which is programming, which is causing the problem in the first place.
Correct.
So if you're, this isn't really for retirees, because chances are by the time you retire, this message will fall on deaf ears, because deaf ears. Yes.
There you go.
Well, deaf. Yeah.
Okay.
It died.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
died. But when you've been programmed all your life, you don't know how to do it any differently than programming yourself.
Correct.
And we see a lot of the quote unquote advice for retirees.
Yes.
Is more programming.
Right.
Oh, do this, think this,
Right.
Do a little bit of this, I want to vomit in my mouth whenever I see this. She hates it when I say this, something like that on the air, but oh my gosh, it's so obnoxious. And people look at us like, you're working full time. Aren't you retired? You know,
Yes.
aren't you just laying around doing nothing,
Yeah.
just waiting for stuff? No. And
No.
it's because we love what we do
Right.
and we're filled with purpose. We wake up every morning and we know why we're here, what we're doing. And it's not like it's a switch that turns on and off.
No,
But
no, not at all.
it
And I'm going to jump in and say, because we've been using the ecosystem approach for more than 20 years, we know what our purpose is, and that's what we start our day with
yes. Yes.
every day.
It's starting a day, we connect with each other.
Correct.
We enjoy our relationship. It just
Right.
it's one of the things the reason we're doing the show is because as intuitives, we see how humans are designed in a way
Yes.
that science could never figure out, because the fundamental part of being human is your soul, your essence, and science doesn't acknowledge that. They
No.
they don't know how to study it. They don't know how to connect with it.
Well, because they don't know how to measure it.
They don't know how to measure it.
Yes.
They can't see it. It's not consistent.
That's
you can't
true.
you could never do an experiment
Right.
to ask your soul something and make sure that it's consistent over and over and over again.
Because it doesn't always work that way. And not to mention our stories,
Right.
who we are really a big part of that.
Right. It's like a play that's, or like a soap opera that keeps going.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
so we're taught from the beginning to do stuff, to learn stuff, to perform tasks, and then to do work.
That's correct.
Never, almost never is there any attempt to understand who you are uniquely and what is your purpose.
Right.
Why are you here as a human being?
Right.
And most people wouldn't even understand what that, what that question
Right.
is.
That is correct.
So and when we work with people's essence, we call them essence, not soul, but we work with their essence, and we see that those essence have purpose.
Yes.
But they're covered with negative energy.
And what the ecosystem approach does is
Yes.
uncover, take away, remove that negative energy that blocks you from actually knowing not only your purpose, but who you authentically are. And when you start to see the light on that one, it's like, oh my gosh, it's
Yes.
awesome.
Well, what happens when someone retires, they say, oh my gosh, all the stress of work,
Right.
a lot of work, the way work happens in this world today, especially in the United States, is very toxic.
Right.
So there's a relief when you don't have to go to work every day, when you don't have to punch in, when you don't have to deal with a boss that is less than perfect and doesn't care about you personally, but just wants you to produce.
Produce the work.
But after a while, you can only play so much golf. You can only do so much of your hobbies.
Correct.
And even if you still have more things to do, more interests that you have, if it's not based on your purpose, they can lose their appeal after a while.
Well, and I need to say this, when you have negative energy covering up not only what your purpose is, but covering up who you are, then you don't really you can do something and it's like, oh, I love doing this, but it doesn't show you completely if this is your purpose or not.
Yes.
And it's very, very, very interesting to see that.
It's not that it shows you, but it's your purpose is something that you uncover.
Correct.
And we know that because when you look at someone's essence, there's always all this negative energy.
Correct.
So it's not just something that you just know.
Right.
It's something that you have to uncover by using an energy process.
Correct.
People are programmed to believe a dull, empty life is normal. They don't perceive that there's anything wrong. It sounds judgmental on our part, but we're just talking about what we see.
Yes.
And we see these people all around. Retirees should be the happiest bunch ever. They
exactly.
Should, dancing and having fun and, but they're not.
No.
So
that part's true. So Jason, talk about the self-knowledge and purpose that is known within your soul.
Okay. So who you are, there's two parts of overcoming these retirement atrocities that we're talking about. One is self-knowledge.
Yes.
You're not taught to know who you are.
No, not at
We're
all.
just taught to perform tasks,
Correct.
do this, do that, do that, and work.
Right.
But when you start to know who you are, oh my gosh, you marry the right person,
Yes.
you have the right job,
Mm-hmm.
you make the right decisions in life.
Mm-hmm.
Everything flows from self-knowledge, and there's a satisfaction when you know who you are,
Yes.
because from that you start to understand purpose. We're going to talk some more about purpose in this next segment.
Okay. Okay.
But um, it's an energy process. It's not something, we're taught that when I was in college, people would take a year off to go
Yeah.
to find themselves, to know themselves better before they got into the grind.
Yes.
Okay, well, that doesn't help. It's just a break. It's not really doing things doesn't really help you understand yourself. When I went in the Army, basic training was really hard. They made me do a lot of things. They broke you down and they build you up,
Right.
but it didn't help me know myself better.
Well, it was their idea of what you should be.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And
So
that isn't always the best way to do things. Using the energy process of the ecosystem approach, excuse me, that's exactly what it does. It removes the negative energy so you can see who you are, what your purpose is, where you're going, what you like, what you don't like, authentically.
yeah,
I love that part.
yes.
So, Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Humans need to know who they are and what their purpose is to be happy and fulfilled.
Correct.
It doesn't sound that radical when you say it like that,
Yeah.
but it's so uncommon.
Correct.
When a person retires never knowing themselves or their purpose, they become lost, sick, lonely, and depressed. Oh, it
Yes.
sounds awful, doesn't it? And it requires an energy process of clearing to uncover who you are and self-knowledge and purpose using the ecosystem approach.
Yes.
And the ecosystem approach is implemented on a continuing basis, would never lead to retirement atrocities.
All right. In the next segment, we're going to talk about how to have self-knowledge and purpose without radical changes in your lifestyle. This is a huge misconception that purpose has to be directly related to your job or your occupation.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to know this. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how to have self-knowledge and purpose without radical changes to your lifestyle. There is a huge misconception that purpose has to be directly related to your job or occupation. Everyone needs to know this, meaning the misconception about it. Jason, self-knowledge and purpose sounds appealing, but most people think that requires a radical change to their lifestyle. Is that true?
Even if you're in what you consider a boring job, you're in a cubicle someplace.
Sure.
You're doing some sort of administrative process.
Mhm.
You could do maybe you're a bus driver, maybe you're whatever it is.
Okay.
And you consider it a boring job.
Mhm.
That to have purpose doesn't require that you switch your job
Okay.
or radically change your lifestyle. Now,
Well, you could love your job, and
Yeah.
it doesn't mean if you want to know what your purpose is and so forth, doesn't mean you have to leave that job.
well, and you could hate your job,
Yes.
and then when you know what your purpose is, can find a way to love it in
And
a
there
way
you
that
go.
you never have before.
I like that.
So we never suggest that people, sell all their worldly possessions and go do something adventurous. The first step is always self-knowledge.
Yes.
People just do this. One of the things that we do, we love watching these off the grid shows. We watch Homestead Rescue.
Yeah, right. And a
these-
few other. We
these-
can't remember the name of the Alaska one, but
there's a couple Alaska ones, people
Yeah.
living off the grid basically,
Yeah.
and things like that. These reality shows on the
Sure.
Discovery Channel, and we enjoy watching it. We know that's not what we want to do.
Oh,
Although we live in a remote area, we live
we
in
do.
just outside of Yosemite, and it's more rural,
Right.
and
Yeah, but I don't have to go down to the river to get water.
no, you don't have to. We've got city water comes into the house.
Yes.
And we actually have a well
Yes, we
that
do.
we use, but we have city water, city sewer, that sort of thing. So, but we have power outages, and we have a generator, and we're pretty self-sufficient.
Correct.
We have 2 refrigerators and 2 freezers. So if the power goes out,
Right.
we're not hurting for food or any of
Not
that.
at all.
We do quite well.
Yes.
And the big thing where I start to whine is when the internet goes out. It's okay for the power to go out because I just go outside and turn on the generator.
Correct.
But it's the internet that really
Gets you. Yes.
gets me. But that's not the point. The point is, a lot of people think that if you go off the grid or you do something adventurous,
Correct.
you're finding yourself. No.
Mm-hmm.
Finding yourself is an energetic process. It's an energy process that
That's
you have
correct.
to do.
That's correct.
Doing things doesn't necessarily teach you about yourself.
Well, and I'm going to jump in and say, when I first met Jason and then we started creating the ecosystem approach, I was riding from one side of the San Francisco Bay Area to the other, and I would do my energy process, meaning the ecosystem approach. Right. I would do that while I was riding on BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit. And I mean, there was thousands of people on the train, that kind of thing. And I could still do it. And it was very successful to me. And it really helped me begin to authentically see who I am.
So if doing something different or making a radical change in your lifestyle doesn't tell you what purpose is, what is purpose?
Okay, that's a really good question.
And it's not connected to your job or occupation. So,
right.
So here's some general categories of what purpose would kind of look like.
Okay.
It's not for us to determine your purpose. It's for you to determine your purpose.
Correct.
Based on an energetic process of covering the negative energy, because your essence already knows your purpose.
Okay.
That's where it's contained. Okay. But that's an energy that's attached to you. And right now it's covered with a lot of negative energy.
So I know you have a list here.
Okay. Healer, that's a purpose. Being a warrior advocate, warrior is more olden days. Most people aren't warriors, but an advocate can be a warrior in this day and age.
That's correct.
An entertainer, musician, artist, creating good energy. That's all one, but it's, I'm here to create good energy in the world. Well, that's a purpose.
Okay. And
you can do that doing any job.
Well, and I'm going to jump to the last one for just a moment, but I use entertainer, musician to it when, Jason's mom, she lives with us and she has dementia, and it's been challenging, but when I see that she starts to get really depressed, one of the very first things that I'll do is I'll use my ability to do entertaining, and I'll dance and sing for her. And I got to tell you, it has been wonderful, because the truth is, I don't care who's around, I'll do it anyway.
It changes the energy in the house.
It does.
Of course, we also, when she gets depressed, we clear her. We use, we move that negative energy.
Exactly. So go ahead. I interrupted.
Being a parent, raising children, that's a purpose.
Yeah.
Being a nurturer.
Yeah. And by the way, not everybody can be a parent or a nurturer.
Right.
It's even if you have children.
Well, like, we still in contact with our kids that are adults, but you nurture your tomato plants.
Oh, I sure do.
So it doesn't have to be people. Okay. That's the point.
That's true.
Judge, arbiter. There's some people that love to be the judge between two people and say, okay, or an arbiter. Engineer, builder. That's a purpose.
Yes.
Inventor, creative. That's a purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Intuitive, psychologist, spiritual leader, of course, that's a description of what we do.
Yes.
And I guess you could call us intuitive or spiritual leaders, but we don't gravitate to be the leadership part as much as the it's coming up. But I think we're both healers.
Yes.
You know, that's natural, and caregivers, but we'll
Right.
keep going in that. Enterpriser, business person, organizer. Some
Mhm.
people like to organize things to get things done,
Yes, they
you
do.
know, and we have some of that also.
Yes.
Baker, cook,
Mhm.
explorer, scientist, caretaker, nurturer.
Mhm.
And then there's earth, climate, repair, healing, ecology.
Right.
You know, that's why we call this the ecosystem
Ecosystem approach.
approach, because there's an ecology about being healthy as a human being.
That is correct.
And that's more of our purpose than being intuitive or a spiritual leader.
Yes.
You know, it really is. And nurturer, caretaker, we help people, you know, take care of their own energy, even their own ecosystem.
Correct.
So those are just kind of some basics.
All right. But I want you to make a really good point here. And people have heard us talk about the Enneagram, which is the personality typing system.
Yes.
And there's a real great description that you're about to give for an understanding.
People misconceive. Okay, so everybody has an Enneagram type. Enneagram type is a personality typing system.
Correct.
If you've listened to our shows before, you know that we say that your Enneagram type is a description, helps describe the negative energy attached to you. It's
Mhm.
not about who you are authentically.
Right.
And there's a lot of books out there on the Enneagram that say this is the way to understand yourself better. No, that's not what we see at all. The Enneagram type is a form of dysfunction based on negative energy attached to your essence.
Correct.
So a lot of people misconceive, you know, applying their Enneagram type in the world
Mhm.
to their purpose.
Yes, they do.
And that's not your true purpose.
Right.
So, and you have to uncover who you are authentically. We use the astrology natal chart as a way of understanding framework to understand who you are authentically.
Right.
Sometimes that's connected, it's related to your Enneagram type, sometimes it's not.
Well, I'm gonna jump in and talk about, I'm a 4 on the Enneagram. Would you say
The personality type, yeah.
Yes, typing system. And I'm very creative. I love to dance, sing, play music. You know, I can be a little off, but my purpose is definitely connected to my astrology, and my astrology is about balance and about seeing the world and myself in a positive way. I'll say
Well,
it that way, and understanding it
yes. And going out in the world and making a difference.
and making a difference. Well, I just was talking about dancing when mom's having a moment. We'll say it that way. Things like that. And by the way, I truly do this, everyone. Well, people would say, well, that's your Enneagram type, because a 4 in the personality typing system is very much, there's many dancers, actors, musicians, those kind of things that are 4s. But what I see is that but instead of becoming emotional about it, and by the way, the ecosystem approach really helped me understand this, that instead of being emotional about it, yeah, I have this talent, so I'm going to do caregiving, which is part of my my astrology, to help someone else feel better about themselves in the moment.
So 4s can be off when they get so emotional they can't function.
Exactly.
And they can't implement any sort of purpose.
That is correct.
To see a 4 as that being artistic, being their purpose, is not necessarily true.
Exactly.
Let me give some other examples.
Okay.
2s, really quickly, being of service to get attention.
Yeah.
They are often of being of service as a 2,
Correct.
but they use it to get attention, which is their compulsion.
Right.
6s, they need to have security. So building security for a 6 is not part of your purpose. It's part of your dysfunction.
Correct.
It comes from
Well,
fear.
And the one that's the biggest one that I see that people will understand is about 7s.
Yes. They keep busy. It's not their purpose.
Right.
They're always doing 15 things when they only have time for 5.
Right.
You know, but it doesn't mean that they're not bored or struggling or
exactly
dull
or being dysfunctional.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So Jason, because of time, what are the key points of this segment?
Having self-knowledge and life purpose do not require radical life changes.
Really important.
Self-knowledge is an energy process. remove the negative energy first, which allows the insightful perceptions. It's not what you do. It's not going someplace.
Right.
Get that. Purpose is not necessarily connected to occupation, job. It's how you implement your life.
Correct.
And the ecosystem approach is designed to teach you to be solid in your purpose and self-knowledge before anything else.
In the next segment, we're going to finally talk about what you can do right now, whether you're just starting your career or already retired. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about what you can do right now, whether you're just starting your career or already retired, and anything in between. Okay, Jason, how does someone in the audience use this information for themselves?
Well, and basically understand that that a life of programming leads to dull lifeness and lonely existence. So you have to get that first.
Okay.
And programming is when you're just told what to do. Just do it.
Just do
this, do that, work,
Yes.
There's never any so who are you? Why you're here,
Right.
Those things, just asking those questions doesn't do it either.
Okay.
It has to be an energetic approach.
Okay. So, well, wait a minute. So what can you do right now to prevent retirement atrocities?
So self-knowledge is an energy process.
Yes.
So if you're listening right now and this says, yeah, this is what I need. I've been trying to figure out who I am.
Right.
And I've been
doesn't
doing
matter
all
what
these
age you
things.
are. Yes.
Yes, I've been doing all these things. I still don't know. I
Yes.
need to figure it out.
Right.
Go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org. Sign up for our free section. You'll get a weekly newsletter. It'll give you clearings to do. The more clearings you do, the more you start to just uncover who you are authentically.
Correct. And it's and by the way, we make it easy for you.
Yeah, we really do. So and do the clearings at the end of the show today with us. It's that simple. And listen to the show every week. We're gonna help you with clearings every single week, and you'll get a weekly newsletter that gives you those clearings.
Okay.
So, but clearing's not a quick fix, because we've been programmed all our life. We expect to take a pill, to take a course, and then we'll know it.
Yeah.
Or someone will certify us, and then they'll say, okay, now you know your purpose. No, it's never like that.
Right.
We've been doing this for over 23 years. We know our purpose, but every day there's a subtlety, there's a nuance, there's a it's like
life.
It's like a picture that is in full color, and you can now see the little detail that you didn't see before.
Correct.
And it keeps coming and coming and coming. It's amazing.
It is.
So clearing yourself based on your Enneagram type and your emotional story. Your Enneagram type tells you what you need to clear. 6 needs to clear fear. A 4 needs to clear emotionality. A 2 needs to clear neediness.
A 1 needs to clear righteousness.
Yes. And feeling that they're always right. You can get that from your Enneagram type. And your emotional story is not what happened to you as a child, but how you felt about what happened to you as a child.
Correct.
You can have siblings living in the same family and have a completely different emotional story.
Oh, absolutely. I think I've told this story before, but we had gone to a family function years ago, and you and one of my sisters was sitting out in the patio, and I happened to come out, and I caught like the halfway through the conversation that said, you said something to my sister. Well, this is what Patricia, the way she saw it, and my sister went, I didn't see it that way at all.
Yeah.
So,
it's and it's not about who's right.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, it's about how she felt about it, how it affected her emotionally,
right,
and then be able to clear that.
And I did, by the way. Thank you.
Well, and I know that even in my family, it's very clear now because we're taking care of my mom, but it's um, the way she treated me as the boy, as the oldest, was so much different than the way she treated my sister. It was
Yes,
just my sister and myself, and because she was a girl, a woman,
exactly.
and same thing with my dad. He treated me differently than he treated my sister.
Correct.
So all those things affect your emotional story,
Right.
and when you understand that, that's where you can start with the negative energy. That's where
Yeah.
those are the programs and the wounds that you know
Last a lifetime.
and I was never good enough, or that you were the ugly one, or
Yes.
that you weren't the smart one, your brother was the smart one, those types of things. Those that kind of programming can last for a long time.
It really can.
So
and it makes a difference when you start to see the truth of it for yourself. You can clear those negative energies and not be trapped in it.
yeah,
And that's really big.
it's not a quick fix. It happens over time.
Yes.
And it requires that you relearn how to function in life. So if you were trained, programmed that you're not good enough to have confidence, and you start clearing that away, you're still going to have to learn how to be you uniquely in the world with confidence.
Yes.
It is not a simple process, not a quick process. And you kind of do it when you start clearing away the negative energy, when you start trying to implement that new way, that new form of confidence in the world.
Yes.
There's a little bit of trial and error. You try it this way over here, you try it this way in this circumstance.
Correct.
And you figure out with that kind of feedback based on who you are,
Yes.
how that works for you.
Well, and I would say it a little more simple. What this does is it helps you change your perspective, and you get more clarity about who you are and what you want out of life.
Yes.
As opposed to having life just shoved at you and saying you have no choice. This is it.
It's funny because growing up, I was always labeled as a nice boy and kind of shy and retiring. The truth is, I'm not a nice boy and I am not shy and retiring, but it's different. When we go out in the world,
Yes.
Patricia's more extroverted than I am.
She'll
She'll lead a lot,
yes.
and I'll stay in the background, and then I'll come forward when it's appropriate. If we're in a social situation, they're talking about who's going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not going to be standing up and saying, "Well, I know,"
right,
because it's not something that I'm engaged in.
right.
But if it's about something around these topics that I know,
correct. Yes.
I'll be the first to stand up and say, "This is the way it should be."
Yes.
So, the purpose is a discovery process. So if you're thinking about purpose, it has to be uncovered. And if you take a test to determine your purpose, that'll never work. It's way too black and white. It's based on someone else's frame. It probably comes from ego.
Yes.
A lot of purposes, what people think is purpose, it comes from ego or a neurotic desire to overcome toxic programming.
Correct.
In your childhood.
Correct.
A great example of that, I think I've been picking on Elon Musk, and I'm going to continue, but I can see that a lot of his brilliance comes from a neurotic desire to prove himself over and over and over again in the world.
Yes.
And his way of dealing with the world is aggressive in a way that comes from trying to overcome that neurosis.
Correct.
It's not coming from an evolved place. It's coming from a pain place of pain.
Correct.
So here's the biggest trap.
Okay.
If you start to normalize dullness and emptiness being programmed all your life.
Okay.
And this can happen when you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s.
And so on.
We're still seeing programming that we have that we didn't realize that was so deeply embedded in our thinking.
And how much toxicity it has created.
Yes. And we never even realized it,
Right.
So, and as you get older, it becomes more and more difficult to perceive that there's anything wrong.
That's right.
But if you're retired now and you're listening to this, the best thing you can do between now and the end of your life is the ecosystem approach.
That's correct.
Why is your purpose important when you're retired? Well, it's part of what your soul wants. to be, if your soul wants to be, your essence wants to have you meet it and
Mhm.
know who it is
Correct.
before you leave this physical body. It's
Correct.
one of the most important things you can do as a retiree.
Exactly.
But most retirees, because they're programmed all their life, don't have any sort of get up and go to do that. They just, it's
Because there's
too
so
much
much
work. Yeah.
and there's so much
You know,
negative energy
they
laying
see it as
on
one
top
more
of
thing to program themselves
that.
for.
That is correct. That is correct. So are we ready for the key points, Jason?
One more thing. Okay.
Okay.
Applying the ecosystem approach would not change what people do today.
Mhm.
You don't have to do anything different. It's how you feel on the inside. You
Mhm.
don't have to change your jobs. You don't have to, you
You know, I have a
make,
perfect example.
okay.
Of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
The example is that there were things that used to make me really, really angry. And I'm talking about trivial stuff would make me really, really angry. And today I can see where that would make me angry, whatever the
Because of your
situation was,
emotional story.
because of my emotional story. And today I choose to go, you know what? I'm not going there. Number one, I don't want to spend that kind of time. And it just it's not serving me.
Well, the problem with that is that a lot of people are using that word choose. And a lot of times
Oh.
people hear choose as a way of forcing yourself.
Oh yeah,
Choosing,
no,
I'm
no,
gonna,
no, no.
I'm gonna choose, I'm gonna force myself
That isn't
not
what
to
I meant.
not to engage.
Right.
But what's happened is, because we've cleared the negative energy, she doesn't have to do it, because it's literally truly a choice that, hey, I could do it this way, I could do it that way, but
Right.
this way serves me, and I'm gonna do it that way.
And because my perspective has changed.
Yes.
And so that's it. So let's do the key points, and
Okay.
then
See
we
what we
need
can
to
do.
talk about, yes, take it from there.
You can clear yourself based on your Enneagram type and emotional story, constantly, consistently, and specifically.
Yes.
That's how you do it. That's how you make progress. Clearing is not a quick fix. It happens over time.
Yes.
You have to relearn how to function in life after overcoming life programming.
Yes.
Purpose is uncovered, not prescribed. Can't come from ego or a neurotic desire to overcome toxic programming.
Correct.
And the ecosystem approach is to help you struggle with self-knowledge and purpose. They are never easy, but it's worth it. So you don't have to have retirement atrocities.
So real fast, Jason, explain to everyone how to remove negative energy.
You can stand, sit, walk, lay down. The posture is not important. And when we say end to eliminate, just in your imagination, in your mind's eye, gather up all those emotions, veils and illusions or barriers to eliminate.
Correct.
Gather them up, and then in your imagination, blow them into the processor. Sierra's putting the processor up on the screen right now. It looks like a trash can on wheels.
Yes.
Blow it into that. It gets processed and comes out neutral in the front.
Exactly. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to help you prevent retirement atrocities. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to help you prevent retirement atrocities. Jason, you ready to go?
Here we go.
All right.
I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that living the life of programming is not natural and can lead to retirement atrocities.
Nice and easy. Take a breath. And you're going to take all that negative energy that you're just picking up. You're going to throw it into the processor, into the top of the processor. If you're driving or whatever, and you don't have that, you can't see it in your mind's eye, use a garbage can and put everything in the garbage can, and know that whatever you put in there does not come back out. You want to make sure you put the negative energy somewhere in a safe place. You don't want to do all that work and then walk back into it. So with that said, I'm going to shorten it up just a little tiny bit. And to eliminate the barriers, so I can see that feeling dull and lifeless and bored comes from a lack of self-knowledge and purpose. Nice and easy, from the tips of your toes, pick up that boredom and the stress and, you know, the lifelessness, and throw it into the processor.
Oh, I'm going to add one here. And to
Okay.
eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see that being bored is a lack of connection with my self-knowledge.
Oh, good one.
Take
That's
a breath. Because a person's waiting to be programmed. They don't
Yes,
know who they are. They don't
Yes.
know what they like.
right.
So they're waiting for someone to program them to
Yes.
say, do this or do that.
That's a really good one. And then continuing on, and to eliminate the intense feelings of worry, anxiety, and stress I have because I'm programmed in a negative way. Doesn't serve me. Nice and easy. Tips of your toes, pick it up. Throw that worry, anxiety, and stress about being programmed into the processor.
And to eliminate any feelings of fear, hurt, and shame that I have that comes from bad programming in my life.
Pick it up. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see the importance of self-knowledge and understanding for my purpose to have a great life. Take a breath and blow it out.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that if I retire without knowing my purpose or myself, I could become dull and empty.
Take a breath and blow it out. And to eliminate any feelings of fear and terror that I have that my life is or will be meaningless. That, out of all the clearings that we're doing, that is huge. Nice and easy. You don't have to be meaningless about anything. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that self-knowledge and purpose is an uncovering process by removing bad energy.
I love that. Take a breath and blow it out. And to eliminate any resentment I have that purpose can't come from ego or a neurotic need to overcome toxic experiences. Excellent. Take a breath.
And to eliminate any resistance to understanding how toxic and negative programming is when it's the opposite of what I've been taught all my life.
Exactly. Take a breath. Blow it out. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that our compulsions or your compulsions from your Enneagram type are not your purpose. Nice and easy. Take a breath. Throw it away.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that self-knowledge and purpose is the key to overcoming retirement atrocities.
Take a breath and blow it out. And to eliminate the programming that creates the dullness, emptiness, and lifelessness that is invisible to most people. Nice and easy. Pick it up. Get rid of it. You don't need it.
And to eliminate the barrier so I can use the ecosystem approach to uncover my purpose and self-knowledge.
Starting right now, take a breath and blow it out. I didn't get a chance because of time before. Now we're going to activate life force, the most powerful energy that any of us has access to in this world today. So follow along. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force. We're going to call it, and we're going to pull it in through the top of our head. We're going to let it go all the way down to the tips of our toes. We're going to stop it right there. We're going to ask it to turn around, and we're going to blow out any negative energies that are keeping us from things like happiness and hope and love, but also blocks to seeing who we are and having the ability to understand I don't have to be dull or empty anymore. Nice and easy. Pick up that negative energy and blow it out. Jason?
And to activate life force so I can hope to live fully awake and alive with self-knowledge and purpose.
I love that. Pull it in. It's cleaning up that negative energy you've been hanging on to, and now you're going to blow out that negative energy. You don't need it. And to activate life force so I can trust that uncovering myself can lead to a true self-fulfillment and purpose for my whole life, starting right now. Pull it in, stop it, turn it around, and blow out any negative energy.
And to activate life force so I can decide to focus on removing negative energy for self-knowledge and purpose for myself.
Love it. Pull it in. Stop it. Blow it out. And last one. And to activate life force so I can be happy, and healthy, creative, see what my life purpose is, have knowing of what love and not only love others, but love myself, and see that my purpose has value, and it doesn't have to be this huge thing. It can start out small and be easy. And I can even have it starting right now in my job, in my family, in my life, every single day, and learn about me in the process. Pull it in. Now blow out any negative energy left over. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
We're going to do a mom update, but this is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be, we're going to talk about clearing.
Okay.
And we're using mom is sort of a clearing laboratory about what works. In a way, it's very informative.
Okay.
Because she has dementia. So there's a part of her personality that's gone. So there's no resistance. We don't have her do it as much as we actually do it to her
or for her.
And
yes.
for her. And we've learned a lot as a result, and we
Yeah.
want to share that with you. I think you'll find it very, very interesting.
Well, it kind of goes along with the show today.
Yes, it does.
And we've seen that, and I'm gonna say we've seen that she's lost her purpose, and it's been I'm a very busy person, and so I've had to find things for her to do. And the irony is that she has dementia, but she's also deaf, and she has learned or she's had to learn what she can and cannot do. And sometimes because of dementia, she doesn't know.
She doesn't learn either
And
anymore.
and
She can't remember.
Yes, it can be very, very, very difficult. So I think this show is going to be very enlightening.
What we found with her, just to give you a spoiler, but it's the idea that we understand her Enneagram type
Yes.
has replaced her purpose. So she's
Yes.
trying to
well done.
use her Enneagram type to in place of her purpose, because she doesn't know what it is.
Right.
She's never been allowed that.
Yes.
And it's kind of interesting. I think you'll find this really, really interesting, because it's like it's sort of like when a person dies, and my mother wants to do this. So when she dies, she's asked that her body be
donated to science.
Donated to science, so they can look inside.
Yeah.
We're doing that now in a sense.
Yeah.
Because her personality's gone.
Yes.
So we're looking inside and seeing what's there, and we're going to share that with you in next week's show.
I love that. So, Jason.
So, if today's show touched your heart, if you're a Gen Xer or Gen Zer, and you're saying, I don't want those retirement atrocities. I know what my parents had is not what I want. I want to have a better life than that. And you're saying that if I sell all my worldly belongings and jump in, go on a trip or do these adventures, it's not going to tell me who I am.
Right.
And I want to know who I am.
Right.
This is what you do. Let's just say.
Okay, go ahead.
Go to our website right now, theecosystemapproach.org. Sign up for our free section. Do the clearings. When you get the weekly newsletter, do the clearings there. And then listen to our show every week.
Yes.
It's that simple. It'll start to accumulate. And
yes.
Read the stuff that's on our website. We have a lot of good content there.
Yes, we do.
And
it's fun.
So also, if you go to our Facebook page, theecosystemapproach.org, we have all of our shows. They're listed there.
Yes, they
listen
are.
to some other shows you might listen to 3 or 4 times. A lot of people do that, and
Yes.
and you learn a lot.
Okay.
You do the clearings at the end.
So we'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.